Investigating for you. This is News 4 Tucson, live at 10.
And we begin with breaking news. Tucson police are at a possible domestic violence situation involving siblings.
That's right. 5th Street between Elm and Lester is shut down right now. This is a live picture there. Some of the homes in that area have been evacuated. SWAT and the negotiating team are on the scene, and police believe one of the siblings is in the house with a gun. Stay with us here at News 4 Tucson for the latest on this story as it develops.
It's an honor to be here today representing Intel and to be able to announce our $7 billion investment in our newest, most advanced factory, Fab 42 in Chandler, Arizona.
Thousands of jobs are coming to Arizona. Today, the CEO of Intel and President Donald Trump announcing a new manufacturing plant will be completed there. Company says that local workers will make one of the most advanced chips on the planet. Also announced today, financial services company Ascensus is opening a Tucson office at U of A Tech Park. Here's News 4 Tucson Sam Salzuelo with why that company president picked the old Pueblo.
The UA Tech Park near Rita and I-10 is one of the biggest employment centers in Pima County, with 46 companies on the property. As more businesses look to expand, so is the Tech Park. Tucson leaders are applauding an East Coast company for announcing its goal of hiring about 170 people. The president of Ascensus Retirement says the company was considering about a half-dozen cities.
We selected Tucson after a pretty rigorous and detailed search. We found that the community really had the type of employees that we want to hire.
The operation will be in the University of Arizona Tech Park, which already has about 6,500 employees. Bruce Wright's the Associate VP for Tech Parks Arizona. Phoenix may have just gotten a huge announcement from Intel, but Wright says Tucson has its own potential.
We focus in 6 technology areas, and those really reflect the research strengths of the university and the existence of particular industry clusters here. Phoenix has a different mix of technology clusters up there, so typically we're not in competition with one another.
The Tech Park offers space ideal for tech companies, but also welcomes other tenants.
Those kinds of facilities and the infrastructure that supports them is very expensive, and it's just not everywhere. It's not something you would normally find in traditional office space downtown or in other parts of town.
We really like the amenities of the Tech Park. One, it had everything that we needed there in terms of the kind of space that we're looking for.
The company's recruiting new employees immediately. The Tech Park on Rita is starting to run out of space. It will be expanding on the southeast side, but another location at 36th and Keno is also expected to make some major progress this year. Sam Salzuelo, News 4 Tucson.
And also today, Ernst & Young announced it's bringing 125 jobs to downtown Tucson. You can get more information on that at kvoa.com.
Pima County has recorded the state's first flu-related death this flu season. Health officials confirm a child under the age of 2 died from a systemic bacterial infection complicated by the flu virus. It's the first pediatric flu-related death reported in the state this year, and officials say even though it has been a mild season, those at risk can be severely affected. This includes children and the elderly.
One of the key messages here is that we need to do everything that's in our power to prevent very small children and the vulnerable, medically vulnerable, from acquiring this infection.
Health officials are urging people who have not had a flu shot yet to get one, anyone 6 months or older.
And new at 10, the Sunnyside Unified School District held its State of the District today. Officials say enrollment's down district-wide, which means less funding. So to compensate, they're trying to reduce electricity and other costs. They want to change their focus as well to have more kids ready for college and other careers.
So we're pushing us as an organization to move away from using graduation as the metric by which we judge ourselves. What we should be judging ourselves, quite frankly, is the amount of students that we get into college and careers.
Other priorities this school year: better academic achievement, financial stewardship, and communication between staff and parents. Matt.
All right, Christy, first heat wave 2017 just about underway. Just 10 o'clock at night, we're looking at very pleasant conditions outside. Particularly mild in places like the foothills at 60, 63 out Gates Pass toward the Desert Museum. Cooler down in Vail at 54. Much cooler Sonoyta 42, 47 Wilcox. But clear skies don't mean much in the way of cooling tonight, as we have a pretty broad area of high pressure that's going to continue to grow and build overhead. We had 95 degrees today in Hermosillo, Mexico, so that's just an indication of what kind of air mass is moving this way. It'll be tempered somewhat, but we're talking about perhaps record highs not only tomorrow, but again Friday. For tomorrow, up to about 86 degrees at 4 o'clock. That would break the old record, and even hotter than that as we make our way into Friday. So when is the end of this heat wave, and do we see some rain? Full forecast, see you in a bit.
All right, new at 10, Tucson police have 2 people in custody for the New Year's Eve shooting at a Midtown hookah lounge. 21-year-old Tyrus Hamilton Morris and 19-year-old Isaiah Stewart are accused of injuring 2 people outside the Moonlight Hookah Lounge on East 22nd Street. Both charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and 2 counts of aggravated assault with serious injuries. Hamilton Morris, though, is also charged with being a prohibited possessor. And 2 other men are behind bars tonight accused of kidnapping and armed robbery. Sierra Vista police arrested Shaquille Rice earlier today in connection to an armed robbery at a hotel Saturday night. Rashawn Avery was picked up yesterday and is now facing additional charges, both also looking at 3 counts of kidnapping.
Various gem and mineral shows have been going on all week, but the main Tucson show will soon kick off. More than 200 high-end gem dealers are now setting up under the 74,000 square foot tent just off of Interstate 10 and 22nd Street. The show is now in its 7th year. 41,000 visitors in 2016 made the 22nd Street Mineral and Fossil Show the busiest in the world. The show's constant growth allows them to make some big changes in the coming years. After purchasing the land adjacent to I-10 2 years ago, plans have been put into the works to increase the buyer and seller experience by constructing a 2-story building. It would eventually add 100,000 square feet of space to the already expansive tent.
Buildings will be built in modules and segments, so approximately 50,000 square feet per building, 2 levels, and it'll just be one right after another as demand warrants.
And organizers are hoping to wrap up construction in time for the 2020 show.
Can you believe that Arizona doesn't have an official state mineral? It's a fact that one mineralogist is working to change. So for that story, here's News 4 Tucson's Aaliyah Shahid.
Well, we have a state metal, that's copper, and our state gem is turquoise. Now, one U of A researcher wants to make wolfenite Arizona's official mineral.
This is the specimen that's absolutely associated with Arizona.
Wolfenite is a mineral that crystallizes in bright orange and yellow colors, and some of the most spectacular wolfenite in the world is found right here in Arizona.
At many of the expositions around the world, anything that was Arizona related always brought some of those wolfenites from the state of Arizona.
U of A researcher Alex Schaus teamed with State Rep Mark Fincham on a bill to make wolfenite Arizona's official mineral.
We were there yesterday in Phoenix introducing the bill to all 60 members of the representatives.
Governor Doug Ducey will have to sign to make wolfenite official, but Schaus is hopeful it will go through.
We hope people let the legislature, the governor know that we need a state mineral, and this is the best choice that anybody could come up with.
Aaliyah Shahid, News 4 Tucson.
Straight ahead on News 4 Tucson at 10, more on Madison, the little girl detectives say badly burned by her adoptive mother. Tonight, the biological mom speaking up and taking legal action.
A fiery crash lands one man in lockup, but not because of what happened when this camera was rolling.
And a local woman says the president's immigration plan might force her and her cash to Canada.
Investigating for you. This is News 4 Tucson. John Overall, Christy Tedesco, Paul Sakala, and Matt Brode. This is News 4 Tucson, live at 10.
Last night we told you about a claim against the state of Arizona over the death of a 20-month-old boy. Adam Mata's birth father said the child welfare system did not protect his child.
And tonight another birth parent is taking legal action over another child who is battling to stay alone.
Beautiful. She's very smart. I believe that she's been through a lot of abuse and mistreatment that she didn't deserve.
Michelle Tremore is talking about the daughter she brought into this world in 2011, a little girl that she named Devaney. April of 2013, though, at the age of 2, Devaney was removed from both parents.
I was arrested for domestic abuse, assault against the child's father.
Their little girl was placed in several foster homes, including one in Sierra Vista, where she lived with other foster children from 2013 to 2015. That caretaker, David Frosham, the foster father, was arrested last year accused of sexual conduct with a minor, conspiracy to commit sexual conduct with a minor, and sexual exploitation of a minor. Michelle believed all along that Frosham was unsafe.
I told my CPS, DCS caseworker on several occasions due to my concerns, and they were all ignored.
Michelle tells Christie's kids she wanted her daughter back and worked toward that every day, but the state said no. Caseworkers were concerned that Michelle had not totally cut ties with the biological father, who is a convicted sex offender with addiction issues.
I did everything DCS wanted me to and received certificates of completion and was in full compliance when my rights were severed.
This is where the story gets even more heartbreaking. Devaney was placed in the care of Samantha Ostros, was given the new name of Madison, and was adopted by Ostros and her husband. But December 29th, just over a month ago, Madison was rushed to the hospital with burns to over 80% of her body. Investigators say Samantha Ostros did it. But ultimately, Michelle blames the state and says the child welfare system in Arizona does not work.
No, not at all. I do not feel that DCS, CPS protected my child in any way.
Michelle wants permission to see her daughter in the hospital, if for no other reason than to tell her what every child needs to hear.
That I was here for her, that I love her, that I want her to come home, that I'm never gonna let anything ever happen to her, ever.
Tonight, Samantha Ostros is free on $25,000 bond. Her next court appearance is later this month. But again, Madison is fighting to survive tonight at Banner UMC.
A police chase in Houston ended in a fiery crash after a car slammed into a Chevron gas station. Surveillance video obtained from the gas station showed the driver leave the roadway, plow into a parked car, and then hit that gas pump. The driver jumped out of the car and ran inside the gas station before being taken into custody. Authorities said the driver was wanted for questioning in an ongoing investigation.
President Trump is taking aim at the federal appeals court that's reviewing his travel ban. Meantime, the U.S. Senate's deciding whether to confirm his choice for Attorney General. Here's News 4 Tucson's Tracy Potts watching it all.
The nomination is confirmed.
Another Trump nominee confirmed. Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions is expected to be sworn in tomorrow morning as Attorney General.
He's got a big job ahead of him. I think he's up to the task. He's tough, but he's fair.
They are cramming terrible nominees down the throats of the American people.
During an all-night talkathon against Sessions, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren read a 30-year-old letter from Coretta Scott King about voter suppression during Sessions' tenure as Alabama's Attorney General.
That the words
she was silenced by Senate leadership for breaking Rule 19, which prevents senators from disparaging colleagues on the Senate floor.
When Elizabeth Warren takes to the floor, it drives the Republicans' blood pressure through the roof.
There are rules. We're supposed to abide by those rules. When those rules are not adhered to, people need to be called out.
Sessions now becomes a key voice in the Trump administration's court battle to resume the executive order on immigration. Speaking to law enforcement this morning, President Trump had harsh words for the federal appeals court considering the temporary travel ban.
I don't ever want to call a court biased, so I won't call it biased. And we haven't had a decision yet. But courts seem to be so political. It would be so great for our justice system if they would be able to read a statement and do what's right.
The judges are weighing whether to keep the ban in place, which affects travelers from 7 mostly Muslim countries. A ruling is expected this week. And the president's own Supreme Court nominee, Judge Neil Gorsuch, expressing concern about what the president said today about the judiciary in a meeting here on Capitol Hill. He called it disheartening and demoralizing. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
And the president's immigration ban may actually lead the owner of a popular Middle Eastern restaurant here in Tucson to close the doors. Amna Al-Kasi says she's been living the American dream, owning Sinbad's restaurant at Main Gate Square for the past 10 years. But now, she tells News 4 Tucson, it's become a nightmare. Amna's from Iraq and says the president's plan to keep immigrants and refugees from 7 mostly Muslim nations out of the U.S. could force her out of business.
I'm ready to go to Canada now, invest my money. And if I close this place, I have 13 American people that are working with me. They're gonna lose their job. He has to think about it.
Local immigration attorneys say while these contentious times can cause anxiety for some, Arizona is no stranger to this sort of controversy.
All right, if you want to help build the January 8th memorial in Tucson, there is a poster you can purchase now. Details coming up.
All right, if you want to see snow and temperatures in the mid to upper 80s in the same day in the same city, more or less, well, keep it here. We'll talk about that. But let's look at Broadway and Wilmot, our News 4 Tucson Skynet camera. Big time heat wave coming this way, followed by even a chance of rain. Weather's next.
The Christie's Kids Car Seat Giveaway classes are filling up now, but there are still a few spots left to get into our car seat safety class this Saturday. You have to download the KVOA app on your iPhone or Android. Just open it, click on the banner at the bottom of your screen, fill out that questionnaire. It's simple. If the banner doesn't get you there, click the menu button in the top left-hand corner. That'll reach the contest page there for you. Either way, it's a mandatory class Saturday morning, TPD's West Side Substation.
All right, the poster from Tucson's Human Embrace event at High Corbett Field is now available. About 2,000 people gathered on January 8th to take that group photo, and you can get a poster of it for just $10, a donation, and all proceeds benefit the January 8th Memorial Foundation. If you'd like to learn more, go to our website, kvoa.com.
Good cause, and that was a warm day on that January 8th when we were out there.
Pretty toasty.
It was. UMC'd it. We were all there, and it was
We were all
warm.
there, and under the tent, it was trapping the heat.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
It was. I think that was the last time we were 80 degrees. And guess what? This is one of those cool things about southeastern Arizona. We still have a little bit of snow up in the Catalinas, and we're talking about temperatures tomorrow in the mid-80s and maybe even closer to 90 on Friday. So if you got a couple days off, that might be a place to cool on off. Let's go to a time lapse. This is our time lapse up from Mount Lemmon. And yes, the snow line is receding pretty quickly, and it's not hard to imagine why with those daytime highs, even on the mountaintop, close to the 60s and even lower to mid-60s. All right, not that we're going to do it, but if we were to hit 90, it wouldn't be one of the top 5 days. It might be tied for the 5th, however. That would be Friday. And again, that's not in the forecast, but just to put things into perspective, how warm it can get this time of year. These are the top 5 hottest days. Valentine's Day back in 1957, our warmest February day ever at 92. And we had a pair of, or I should say a triad of days at 91 degrees. February 17th last year, we were 90 degrees. Can you believe that? All right, we're making that climb up the rungs of the ladder up to 77 today in the city of Tucson. Average highs still into the upper 60s, so seeing temperatures well above average for this time of year. 60 last check at the airport. Light winds out of the south-southeast at 7. Dew points at 43. Comfy up in Marana. You're 54, 58 Oro Valley. Cool spots, 53 at Vail. It's 56 in Corona de Tucson. And we're tracking temperatures for the most part into the low 40s in Sonoyta, 47 Wilcox, 48 in Douglas. Trend for the rest of tonight in the city of Tucson. Give the furnace a break, perhaps. Looks like we stay into the 50s, so good, comfy sleeping weather. Maybe open those windows, bundle up a little bit. And then tomorrow, look at that. Already by lunchtime, 78, some high clouds, 86 for tomorrow's top temp. Courtesy of, yes, you guessed it, high pressure building up pretty strong. As I said at the top of the broadcast today in Hermosillo, Sonora, 95 degrees today in the winter. All right, here's what's next. High pressure certainly going to set up shop tomorrow and Friday. Then we get a break as the cold front sweeps in Saturday and Sunday. That'll bring us a decent chance of some showers. Not so confident on that as I am on much cooler air temperatures behind it. So we'll talk about that in the extended forecast. For tonight, though, 50s ought to do it for nighttime lows. 86 midtown tomorrow. Wow, unbelievable. 87 Avra Valley and Marana. For Cochise County, even places like Douglas, 83, 81, Sierra Vista, Nogales at 84. So that's why we're calling it near record heat. 7-day forecast, 86 would break the record set back in 2015 of 84. 88 would certainly break the record set back in 1951. And About a 10% chance we do hit 90 degrees, 30% chance of showers on Saturday and Sunday, and a big-time cool down all the way from 88 to 63. 25 degrees cooler from Friday to Sunday, so a little bit of everything in the 7-day forecast. Mr. Cicala, what you got for us?
Hey, sports is coming right up after the break in basketball. After a slow start, Arizona heats up like the Sonoran Desert in July. We're talking hoops. Would it be against a Stanford team that perhaps challenge them a bit? Plus, Major League Soccer shifts gears from Tucson to Oro Valley with the New York Red Bulls set to take on FC Tucson. We'll hear from the FC Tucson coaching great Rick Schantz on MLS influence in Southern Arizona. We'll be right back, Jack.